A circus trick, short story by JameliaAlicia. What's the key to his heart? Answered the woman with the turban and big hoop earrings. Her eyes are small and piercing brown. She's standing next to the child in front of her. The child is described as a mini version of her. The child's eyes enlarge at the man in matching playful suit and tie. The man is trapped in the mirror. He is waving robotically towards the window, but his eyes are eerily big and dark. The two people in front of the mirror are under a spell, but in the corner of the mirror it said, "Beware, do not look in the mirror." They ignore the sign and continue to look at the man in the mirror, tapping on the screen. The child walked towards the mirror and said, "I will not make the same mistakes I see." The child blinked and looked behind her. She saw her mum. The woman in the turban replied, "What's the matter?" "Mum, I thought I saw something," said the little girl. "What did you see?" said the woman in the turban. "I saw the man's eyes grow big and stare at me as if he was in a trance," said the little girl. The woman in the turban paused and had nothing to say. She smiled at her daughter and continued exploring the circus. Over the couple of weeks, the same mirror stood there, but it travelled to the woman and daughter's home. "Beware, do not look in the mirror." A couple of weeks later, a man and his son approached the mirror. They stood there silently observing. His son gasped and did not respond. The man replied, "This is spectacular. This can't be true. A man in the mirror?" "Dad, the man in the mirror moved," said the boy. "Yes, and what happened?" said the man. "It looked at me with those scary-looking eyes." "Do you see it?" said the boy, pointing at the man in the mirror. "What?" said the man. The man stared at the man in the mirror and engulfed his son closer to his arm. He walked away alongside his child, and the boy did not look back. He knew looking back would mean bad luck. When the boy was much older, he came back to the same circus again, sticky with candy floss and wandering too far from his mother beneath the glow of LED lights and buzzing generators. The circus has come to the edge of a retail park, temporary flickering, almost unreal against the concrete world he knew. There was a crowd gathered around a velvet-draped stage. Nearly nearby laughed and called it just a trick, but Elliot pushed closer anyway, drawn by something he couldn't explain. The showman wore a sharp modern suit, a headset microphone curling along his cheek. Behind him stood an antique mirror completely out of place among the neon signs and plastic chairs. Its gold frame seemed intricate to a life setting. "Who's brave enough," the showman said smoothly, "to look a little deeper?" Elliot didn't respond, choosing to step forward, only to suddenly he was there, staring. The cloth dropped and the world shifted. There was a man inside the mirror, not a reflection, not quite. He looked older, gaunt, his palms pressed desperately against the glass as though suffocating behind it. His mouth moved forward, forming silent words, and his eyes locked onto Elliot's with terrifying urgency. It looked like he was saying, "Don't look," but Elliot didn't look away. He couldn't. The showman's sound flickered just for a second before the cloth was thrown back over the mirror and the audience erupted into uneasy applause. Elliot stumbled back, heart racing, but something else held him there for a moment longer. Carved faintly into the base of the frame was a riddle. "I am here yet not alive. I can feel yet cannot touch. I can love yet though lose my love. Who am I?" He memorized it without trying. The words settled into him like something planted. Years passed and Circus vanished as though it had never existed. Elliot grew up moving though the expected rhythms of life, university, work, relationships, building something stable, something ordinary, but the mirror never truly left him, nor did the riddle. They lingered quietly like a thought just out of reach. He met Amara on a rainy Tuesday. She had a laugh that felt like sunlight breaking through the clouds. She didn't believe in curses or ghosts or anything that lingered where it shouldn't. "Memories are just echoes," she told once, brushing his hair back. "They can't hurt you." Elliot wanted to believe her, so he tried. The mirror returned quietly, not in a circus this time, but in a vintage shop tucked between a cafe and the phone reappears store. Amara saw it first, her voice distant as though she called him over. Elliot felt before he saw it, the drop in his stomach, the cold familiarity, the frame, the gold, the same impossible presence. "Don't," he said, sharper than he meant to, but she was already standing in front of it, already looking. She froze. "Elliot, there's someone." He rushed forward, grabbing her arm, pulling her back, but it was too late. The man was there again, the same hollow eyes, the same desperate hands, but this time he wasn't looking at Elliot, he was looking at her. That night, Amara didn't sleep. She sat upright, staring at the bedroom mirror as if it might breathe. "I saw him," she whispered. "He was trying to tell me something." Elliot's chest tightened, but he told her it just was her mind, even though he said he knew it wasn't true. Over the following days she changed, not all at once but enough to unsettle him. She grew quieter, more distant, drawn to the reflection in windows, screens, or anything that shimmered. I keep seeing him, she admitted one night. In everything, the riddle burned in Elliot's mind. I can love, just yet lose my love. The answer came slowly like a dread setting in place, a reflection. Something alive, but not. Something that could feel her, but never touch. Something that could love and lose. And somehow he understood there was a key hidden in it. Something the mirror had planted in him long ago. He returned to the shop, but it was gone. Of course it was. Just like a circus, the mirror, however, was finished with him, and he never had been. He found it in his own home, leaning against the bedroom wall as if it had always been there. A mirror stood before it, still and silent. "Don't look," he whispered, but she didn't move. Inside the mirror, the man was screaming now. Beside him, there was another figure, fainter but unmistakably her. Elliot's hands trembled as he traced the frame, finding the riddle carved deeper than before. Waiting, he pressed his forehead against the glass. "I know who you are," he whispered. The mirror seemed to pulse, a reflection. The surface cracked slightly, tracked by love. The mirror split open like a door. Something thick, unnatural split out. The man collapsed forward, gasping, alive. A mirror fell with him, and Elliot staggered back, heart pounding. For a moment, it felt like it was over. A mirror woke, breathing, crying, real. But across from the room, the mirror still stood, unbroken, waiting. And when Elliot looked, just a second, he saw it, a figure behind the glass. Not the same man, not a mirror, something new, watching, learning, waiting. Some things aren't tricks, they're invitations, and once you've seen, you don't just escape, you become of it. Years later, a child would stand in front of the mirror, curious and unaware, but something deep within the glass. Elliot would press his hands forward, trying to warm them, mouthing the same word over and over again. "Don't stare, don't look. Who knows what will happen after that?"